No.
We don't hear you. We don't hear you, honey. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yes.
Great. Grand rising, everyone. Woo! It is Wednesday. We are in the middle of the week. Oh, I'm so excited about today, our guest. Oh my God, I'm so excited about the week. I'm so excited about you all's future. And for 2025, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for showing up today. For those who don't know, my name is Lakeisha LeGrand, also known as Madam Finance, because
Right.
I help everyday people build wealth with confidence. And that is including you, and you. I'm so excited today. I'm really excited about our guest today. Everyone who comes to the show knows that I love to start the show off with a millionaire or billionaire success story. This one, everyone should know about this gentleman. Today's Wednesday success story will be on Henry Ford, the American multi-billionaire business owner and founder of the Ford Motor Company. Started out with very small beginnings. He was born in Greenfield Township, Michigan, and was very poor. At the age of 20, he walked 4 miles to church back and forth every Sunday. Henry Ford was a Christian and was a faithful member of the church. Henry Ford always dreamed of starting his own business, so he made money doing repairs and odd jobs for people in the neighborhood. But Ford had a global vision. Did y'all hear that? Not a small vision. He had a global vision. He believed in stepping out in faith, which led to his now famous quote, leap and grow wings on the way down.
All right.
Ford decided to venture out and use his faith to start his own and start a company that would create a fully functional automobile. He had investors, but after 3 long years of not producing a working vehicle, his investors pulled out and wanted their money back, and he was forced to close down the business.
Mm.
Henry Ford worried how would he pay his bills and take care of his family, but he never gave up. He took the leap, and with no investors, he started his own company called the Ford Motor Company. He came up with a concept for a car called the Model T, which became a worldwide phenomenon. It made Mr. Ford the richest man on the planet and one of the wealthiest people to ever live. Henry Ford's net worth is estimated at over $188.1 billion. Henry Ford was a major philanthropist, building churches, hospitals, and donating hundreds of millions of dollars to charities, helping the less fortunate all over the world. Woo! Mercy. I love reading these success stories because a lot of these people, we see a lot of millionaires and billionaires, we see them successful, but no one knows their struggle. No one knows their struggle. So whenever things are not maybe like going right or things may be challenging, it makes me feel like don't worry about I'm walking in the footsteps of millionaires and billionaires. You're walking in the footsteps of millionaires and billionaires, okay? So don't get hard on yourself. We just got to keep on pushing and keep on keeping on. So I'm excited about today. One thing I know you notice all these success stories is that it is bigger than us. Everything you're doing is bigger than you, what you're doing bigger than us. Okay, people are waiting on you. They waiting on you to get it together. We got people who need us. So we just stay encouraged, stay in the grind. He No, God works through people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the people, all their houses and everything burnt up, whether California, you know who came to the rescue? People. People. You got the people that's hungry out here. You know who's coming through the rescue? People. God designed it that way, that we need each other. Being successful is not a solo act. Okay, we need each other to be able to make things right. So, with that being said, I'm excited about our guest today. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Derek, Joyce, Samsung, Miss Barbara Woodard, my business partner, Stacy, Carlos. Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you, Queen, Evelyn, Sheila E. Thank you so much for coming because you could be doing something else. And so I am so excited and just so grateful and thankful that you joined us today. So, we're going to talk about our guest today, Mr. Dr. Russ Hoover. Dr. Russ Hoover has a successful history of small business ownership, corporate leadership, and pastoral ministry. Dr. Hoover started his business career with Woodworth and Associates as a sales leader and quickly became the company's top sales leader and manager. After completing a successful career with Woodworth and Associates, Dr. Hoover launched his first storefront business in 1989, JC&Me Silk Screening, with his wonderful wife Terry. Here, the Hoovers experienced several years of tremendous success with the new business startup, where they designed logos for companies and printed for the city of Pontiac, the fire department, the school system, Total Armor, Shields Pizza, and Hudson's Department Store, to name just a few of their clients. Later, they added JC&Me Communications, becoming the first pager, reseller, and service provider in the city of Pontiac. Dr. Hoover transitioned into corporate America, leading an extensive 1 million square foot portfolio of commercial and residential properties in 2 states while overseeing an $8 million annual budget. In 2000, Dr. Hoover founded Truth and Love Fellowship Ministries, where he served as founder and senior pastor for 10 years. Dr. Hoover oversees several business concerns, including a commercial and residential solar business. Dr. Hoover keeps his pulse in new business propositions, representing unique income opportunities for his partners. Wow. All right, now I'm so excited. Go ahead. I'm going to get a flow to you, Dr. Hoover.
I have to tell you, I'm excited to be here with you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I'm extremely excited to be with you today. I want to acknowledge you and your team for the awesome work that you all are doing. And I had a chance when you sent me the email to see the full week's lineup. And that's very impressive. Their Monday through Friday lineup. So I'm going to get a chance to visit some of the other shows as well, because you guys are doing a great work. You created a tremendous platform for people to get a chance to hear and learn about information that is really life transforming. So I'm excited to be here. So
Dr. Hoover, we don't see you.
Yeah, I don't know. My screen, it seems like it's froze up. So hopefully when I share my screen, you'll be able to see the screen. I'm looking at myself and it's froze up for whatever reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with that. I'm gonna share my screen. Tell me if you can see when I share.
Yes.
You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, there it goes. I'm not seeing it. All right, very good. All right. So we're talking about the power of your network. The power of your network. Now, let's imagine that you just created the fax machine and you've got your first fax machine. You're ready to go to work and try to market that. My question is for you, what would the value of that first fax machine be? Anyone have any ideas how much you think it would be worth? Any ideas? Give me a guess. What do you think that first fax machine would be worth? I have no takers. Okay.
Okay, I say this it would probably be worth $1,000.
Okay. 1,000. Anyone else?
I'd say 500.
About 500. All
The
right.
first one. This is the first fax machine.
The first fax machine.
5,000.
5,000. All right.
Oh.
I'm gonna blow your mind with this answer. Okay. 0.
Wow.
Oh wow.
0. Think about it now. You've only got one fax machine. Who are you going to send a fax to?
Right.
Right? Think about it. Right? The first fax machine is actually useless. Without at least one partner, communication devices are absolutely useless. You remember these old phones? You got to have at least one other phone in order to make that worthwhile, right?
Right.
At least one partner. But as you increase the number of users, the devices become increasingly more valuable.
Right.
Why is this important? Now, Metcalfe's law, it states that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of users connected to the system. That's a lot, right? In fact, I know it's an extremely technical statement, but I need you guys to listen to me. So let me say that once more. Metcalfe's law states that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of users connected to the system. This simply means that as your network grows, the value it provides grows exponentially, not linearly. And I'm gonna make that plain. If you're moving on a linear growth line, you see this blue line, that is you growing linearly. You experience the same kind of growth maybe on a job if you get annual increases, right?
Right.
But when you are growing exponentially, you may start off initially not making as much money, not producing as much, but because it's an exponential growth, eventually you're going to reach a pattern where you're going to have what is called critical mass. You're going to cross over that linear growth, and it's going to go well beyond where you thought it would have been because you're continuing to add to that network. So as you build your network, you can experience exponential growth where your team literally explodes away from you. And that's what you want to experience. Now, something else you want to take a look at here as well. Oftentimes, when you're building a network, your costs or your energy when you're first starting can exceed the return you're getting. In fact, frequently, this is the case. When you first start doing a project, I can remember even when I started my first business, for the first 2 years, we were feeding that business. I didn't take a salary out of that business for probably 2.5 years. But eventually it reached a point where we began to build a customer base that was sufficient enough to where we began to take a salary from that. And then eventually at the end, we had over 11 employees and was paying out and making $30,000 to $40,000 on a monthly basis. So what we used to feed in the beginning became something great as we began to continue to grow and build that network. So your efforts in the beginning will be greater than the rewards until you begin to build a network that's really potentially can become global. And that's what you want. You don't want all your efforts to be in one location. You want to be able to expand and grow and build your network. One thing you need to understand, business is a team sport. And I'm talking about this now because oftentimes I come in contact with people that they're really, and especially in the Metro Detroit area. Now, this is a highly industrial area. The history of this area is industrial because the big three started here, right? Ford, Chrysler, and GM. And so people are used to going to work, making money, on their own and kind of doing their own Lone Ranger kind of a thing. But to be honest with you, that day is over. The day of being the Lone Ranger and generating income all by yourself, that day is really over. Business is a team sport, and it's the teamwork that's going to make that dream work. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen this from Rich Dad Poor Dad, the cash flow quadrant. Now, notice here in the E quadrant, which is the employee, there's a key word in there. It's linear income, right? Basic income coming from one source, and that's you trading time for money. People in this quadrant only control about 5% of the wealth, right? This is not the side of the quadrant you want to be on. You want to move away from this and get on the right side of the quadrant, right? The B side, the I side, where you've got systems working for you. And believe it or not, this also applies to people who are self-employed. Whether you are a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, all of those people, even though they can be highly paid, they're still making money when they're working. If they're not working, they're not performing a surgery or doing something like that, they're not getting paid, right? Now, there's many reasons why people choose to stay in a job situation. And a job is not bad. A job is not wrong. It's good, when people can start their careers out in a job, in an employment situation. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is to end in a job, right? If you're going to end your career as an employee, you got some scary things to look forward to. Okay, Social Security, I don't know how many years are left on the Social Security system. It may be gone before you know it, right? But
Right.
many, right, they choose to stay in an employment situation, and when they hear about an offer to start a business, a home-based business, or whatever it may be, a lot of people say, I'm too tired when I get off work, right? I'm too tired. I can't do that. But then, if someone was to call them and say, hey, man, let's go party, let's do this and that, somehow they find the energy, right? They find the energy to go and do that thing. Or secondly, I'm too busy to do that. It's impossible for me to do anything like that. But then when they get home, they make time for that idiot box, right? You
Right.
watch people fulfill their dreams all day long, whether it's a football game or a movie. You're supporting things that will not lead to your bottom line, but you can't make time to do the things that's going to help you to build your dream. That's a problem. That's a problem. And then the last thing you will hear when people talk about a network type of a business, that's a pyramid scheme. That's a pyramid scheme. Give me a moment. I'm going to sip my tea because we got to deal with this one. Let's talk about this pyramid scheme. What you're looking at right now is a typical corporate or organizational structure. And notice what you got at the top, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You could very easily change the names to Mr. and Mrs. Ford. We heard about an icon here in the Metro Detroit area, the Ford family, right? Well, notice all of their, business entities are being ran by someone from the Ford family, right? The Lions, all of those key people have, that are related to the Fords. Now, think about it. As you look at this structure, these people at the top, do you think they probably make the majority of the money from this structure? And then as you move down, you think the incomes are getting greater or less, right? And by the time you get down to the bottom, you're basically getting the peanuts, right? You're getting peanuts down here. So how in the world can someone say that a networking opportunity is a pyramid scheme when people are punching in on a daily basis to a pyramid scheme where you're supporting Mr. and Mrs. Smith's dream, right? You're putting in your time, putting in overtime, doing all you need to do to help make their dream work while they're out on the golf course enjoying life, right? They're leveraging your efforts, right? While you're, doing all the things you need to do to make sure that the company works, and you should, right? If you punch their clock, you should be one of the best employees in the place. But again, it's where you want to start. It is not where you want to end your income career. But you look at a network marketing situation. Now, notice this structure. It is not a pyramid. You can be this person here on the bottom that get everything started. He may, meet this person on the left and get this person going. You may get this person over here going. You may get this person on the right going. But the thing is, this person right here, if they've got a bigger dream and a bigger vision, can literally make way more money than the person that brought them on board. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, one of the things I love about the network marketing model is that it is a win-win for everybody that's involved. In fact, when you come on board, you want to see all these people excel and succeed. You know, the more they make, the better off you are. So what if you start off and you may only have 15 or 20 personal sponsored people, and he goes out and get 100. This person goes out and get 1,000. This person builds a team of 10,000. It is not taken away from you. You know, a lot of compensation plans have check matches, right? So you want to see those people do well. The better your team does, the better you do. That is not the case in corporate America. I have had situations, even in the position where I was, managing an $8 million budget. A person that I hired, right, one of my subordinates, looked for every opportunity he could to stab me in the back and try to get my position. And the man couldn't carry my shoes, right? But this is what happens in corporate America. He looked at the fact that I was the main person in 2 states. He wanted that position so bad that he began to lie and do different things because that's the status, that's the nature of the corporate structure. But you don't have that going on in network marketing. It is an environment where you can thrive and you can grow. And I'm really talking about this today. And there may be people here that I know there's all business minds that's here today, but you will come in contact with individuals that don't fully understand the power of their network. It is an awesome thing. And when you look at the climate that we're in today, you have to learn how to do something else. Because the reality is there's a lot of people at the first of the year that were working various jobs that began to get nervous and afraid because of what's going on with this present administration. People that have been working for years in positions that they would have thought would have been untouchable, but that may not be the case, right? We don't know what's going to happen, over the next, 12 months. So to be depending on a job, right, something that you don't own, I think it's foolish to put all of your eggs in that basket because it may be here today, but it may not be here for you tomorrow. So we got to get away from this linear income, trading your time for money. Utilize the time that you have on that job as a support while you're building something that you can own, where you can begin to create your own legacy. Most people, right, they're working on this side and they're receiving linear income. But when you move on to the other side, where the business owners are, notice they own systems and they control 95% of the wealth. Networking is a system, and it is a very smart system. So it's something that you want to give a strong look at because you're going to face some of the wisest and greatest business owners in the world are participating in this industry. Now, many people fall prey to this plan. And this right here is a horrible plan. It's called the 40-40-40 plan. So you say, what exactly is that? The 40-40-40 plan is working 40 hours a week for 40 years, only to retire and live off 40% of what you earn and can barely live on when you're working full time, right? That's not a great plan. And a lot of people have fallen prey to this plan. And I'm going to show you what it leads to. You're talking about retiring? How many of you have noticed? And I remember when I was a kid, working at Jack in the Box, all of the people that worked at that restaurant, with the exception of the manager, were teenagers. But you go into fast food today, you don't find too many teenagers. You find a lot of middle-aged people and people that are much older working in fast food. Now, do you think that was their retirement plan? To be working at a fast food or to be a greeter at Walmart? Have you ever noticed when you go into those stores, who's the people saying hello at the front door? People that should be at home chilling or on vacation visiting their grandkids. But they're there at Walmart being a greeter because that was their plan. That was not their plan, but it's what they got to do to try to make it, right? right? And it's interesting, right? A 40-40-40 plan, one says, don't even have a $40,000 retirement plan, right? And that's a whole nother story. My dad, he retired from General Motors as a pipe fitter, skilled trades, and back then they had great pensions when he retired, and he lived a great life, right? Before he passed away in his late 80s. But they did away with the pension plan, and now you've got people who are don't know what they're going to do because they got into this other project. What do they call that? The 401 or the 1K. They barely want to call it 401K. I was talking to somebody who had a 401K since the 80s. I talked to them in 2008. I was getting a car repair, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but the guy was angry. He said, "Man, do you realize I've been paying into this 401K for decades? And the value of my 401K today is less than it was when I paid into it the first year." We talking about paid into it for decades. But when 2008 came along and that bank failure hit, it wiped out retirement plans. It wiped out retirement plans. And they should have never been in that program in the first place. But corporate America was able to, do this, bait and switch and got people into a 401K and did away with the fully funded retirement plans, the pension plans. And that's not cool. So we have to have another solution. So you got people who's making these retirement mistakes and not thinking long term. They're going off the cliff right into the 40-40-40 plan. And they think they know what they're doing, but they don't. So we've got to get away from this right side of the quadrant. Again, it's okay to start there, but you must move over to the right side. You got to get away from the left side and move over into the right side, where you can begin to operate with systems and be able to leverage more of the wealth that's being generated. And I'm going to show you more now. This is a scripture, and it's a very powerful scripture. Ecclesiastes 4:12. It says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves, and a cord of three stands is not quickly broken. Now, there's another translation of this that I think is very powerful. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. So what's the essence of this message here? You trying to make it by yourself, working this Lone Ranger plan is going to leave you in a bad situation. Just by simply partnershiping with one or two or three or four other individuals can greatly improve your opportunity to succeed. And that is the essence of what networking is. Networking gives an individual that can be an average person the greatest opportunity to win and to become greater than they ever thought possible. And we're going to be talking about somebody today, too, that really took on the networking model. And by doing so, was literally able to transform their life. So stay with me, because I can't wait to get to the end of this project. So the key, build your network. It may start with you and your family, right? It may start with you and your siblings. It may start with a few people in your neighborhood, but you got to get started building your network. Get outside of your comfort zone. Go and meet someone. I've gotten to the place now where you can parachute me anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, as long as they're speaking English, and I'll be able to create partners anywhere I go, right? Because it's just simply having a conversation and then finding out what that individual needs and then help them to meet that need. If you're in the business of helping others solve their problems and getting paid, money will never be an issue. And that's really the essence of what networking is all about. So if you can get into the practice of building your network, what follows is you being able to build your net worth, building your wealth. That's what the Most High wants for you. Now take a look at this now. People have different ideas about network marketing. But the industry of network marketing is extremely, extremely powerful. Look at these numbers now. In 2022, global network marketing generated over $200 billion with a B. $200 billion. And by 2030, in 5 short years, they expect that number to exceed $300 billion. That's grown up money. That's grown up money. But even more than that, you got one of the greatest investors of all time involved with network marketing companies. Not just one, but multiple companies. And that speaks volumes to me, right? This man is like E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. Well, when Warren Buffett speaks, people need to be listening. Why is he so about this business of network marketing? Reason behind Warren Buffett's investments in network marketing. Despite Buffett's traditional focus on established companies with strong financials, his investments in network marketing business can be attributed to several factors. Network marketing companies have a unique business model that can offer exponential growth, not linear, but exponential growth opportunities, low operating costs, and the potential for passive income. Now, that's a word that's not used often in employee vernacular, but passive income is income you can experience while not doing the work. Now, wouldn't it be nice when you went to bed and woke up the next day, your value was more than it was when you went to sleep at night? That's what network marketing can do for you, where you can literally find money coming to you, being attracted to you, and you're not doing the work anymore, right? That's the potential of network marketing. Let's continue. Furthermore, Buffett may see value in the personal development aspect of network marketing businesses. These companies often provide individuals with a chance to become entrepreneurs, develop sales and marketing skills, and build their own businesses without significant capital investment. And this is a huge benefit. Now, I've started storefront businesses, and it takes a lot of money to start a storefront where you got to go into a business, do renovations, and all the things that it takes to get that business up and running. I've done that twice. But network marketing, you can generally get a network marketing business started on the average between $500 to $2,000, right? Depending upon the type of business you're getting into. And there are other businesses that can get started for much less than that. But can you imagine going into a business with a $2 or $3 or $4 or $500 investment and being able to have your own business? You're in an environment where you can begin to learn and grow about that business and not have a very low overhead, and eventually get to the place where you're generating an income that becomes passive, right? Residual. You can build something that not only you can benefit from, but that you can pass on to your children. This is the opportunity that network marketing gives you. Look at this now. Network marketing accounts for 20%, 1 in 5 of all millionaires, not only in the United States, but globally. Globally, network marketing has the potential to create millionaires. We're talking about $20,000+ a week. Now, what job out there pays that? Unless you're CEO of some company. Network marketing has a potential to create millionaires. In fact, some authors claim it has more potential than any other form of marketing, including affiliate marketing, which has emerged as a fairly popular way to make money. Network marketing millionaires statistics show that 20% of millionaires in the world come from network marketing. Moreover, 20% of global millionaires make a fortune through the multi-level marketing industry. Now, Russ, why are you talking about this? Because this is a serious industry. But what happens is a lot of people get involved with it and they don't take it serious. They don't treat it like a business. They treat it more like a hobby or something that they thought about doing yesterday, and today they forget about it. I've talked to people that got involved with network marketing 30 days later that didn't even open up the box to find out what was inside. Now, what is that? You spent $200, $300, $400, or $500, $1,000, never went to a training, right? Never asked anybody, what I need to do. You just made an investment. You got inspired one moment to make an investment and then didn't do anything else with it. Now, why does that occur? It's because people are afraid to get out of their comfort zone. Because oftentimes, when you get ready to start a business, you can ready to do something that you've never done before. And most people find it easier to stay inside that box, that comfort zone box, right? That says, okay, I know this territory. I know what's going on right here. If I can stay right here, I'll be safe. That's what your mind wants you to do. Your mind is all about keeping you safe. But if you don't step outside of that comfort zone, I want you to understand something. You can make a faith board. You can put that house on there that you want. You can put that car on that board that you want, right? You can put those vacations, all those things you want to accomplish on that board, all the stuff you think that you want to have and you would love to have. But guess what? Everything that you've put on that faith board is outside of your comfort zone. So if you're afraid to get outside your comfort zone, take the faith board down. Stay on your 40-40 plan and get ready to start flipping burgers when you retire, because that's what you got to look forward to. Network marketing. What are some benefits of it? In the 40-40-40 plan, you got to look forward to working 8 to 12 hours a day. With a network marketing business, you can literally invest 1 to 2 hours a day to get that business up and running. Now, that's a small investment. You work 8 hours a day, you come home, you take a shower, you get you some cup of coffee and say, okay, I'm going to work the next 2 hours on my business, on my dream, on my vision, right? 1 to 2 hours a day for 5 days a week, right, will get you where you want to be. With a 40-40-40 plan, your time is scheduled for you. They're going to tell you when to be there and what to do when you get there. With network marketing, you're flexible, right? You can work in the evenings, you can work in the afternoon, you work in the mornings, you can work on the weekends, whatever you choose to do. With the 40-40-40 plan, your income is limited. You know, I've heard people talk about, I'm supposed to get this raise, and then they get what, 10 cents, 25 cents, can't even keep up with the cost of living. But with network marketing, your income is literally unlimited. Unlimited. We already talked about the fact that 1 in 5 millionaires get that through network marketing. In the 40-40-40 plan, your life is being controlled by someone else. You may want to get into a certain area or position. They may or may not want you to do that. My dad had to fight to get into skilled trades. He was one of the first minority skilled tradesmen in General Motors. He had to fight to get that, right? All opportunities are not made available to you. And guess what? The clock is moving backwards, right? The clock is moving backwards. We're almost back to the Stone Ages, right? I don't know what's going on in this society. I don't know what people are thinking, but people of color, right? If you don't come together and make some things happen, right? If you don't find a way to begin to work together, right? Get this crab mentality out the way and say, I'm going to support others around me, even those that look like me, right? If we don't find a way to support each other, I don't know what our future is going to look like, because we are becoming obsolete in the eyes of other people. That's just a reality. That's a reality. Other benefits of network marketing, they list many here, but the main one I want to show you is residual income. Low startup costs to be able to generate some residual income. And again, if you didn't hear the message about that, residual income means you work to build something today that's going to continue to pay you tomorrow when you're not working on it. Your job is not going to do that for you. If you're not trading time on that job, that 40-40-40 plan, you are not making money. Now, this John D. Rockefeller, he again was one of the most wealthy men on the planet. He controlled oil and got involved with pharmaceuticals and different things, and the man was wealthy. I mean, he was probably a billionaire before anybody else was a billionaire. But this is what he understood. I would rather earn 1% off of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. So what does that look like? You're getting up in the morning and you say, I'm just going to count on my own abilities and my own efforts. to make my money. I don't need to count on anybody else. I'm just going to do it myself. But then all of a sudden you become somehow incapacitated, right? Something happens. Maybe you got a long illness or something going on, or maybe some person in your family needs attention, and you need to be able to be there to give them their attention. But now, what happens when you can't go to work and 100% of your income is tied to you? That's a problem. But what does networking do? You find just one other person that's willing to lock arms with you, and you've just now doubled your capacity to earn. Now, let's say that one individual you bring on board, he's got 5 partners that he wants to work with. And so now you've got these 5 individuals that out working in the same business that you're in. You just, increase your capacity to earn by 5, right? And as more and more people get on the same concept and start, tapping into their warm market, then you begin to have a potential army of individuals, all with a like mind, trying to accomplish the same type of goals, and all of them are impacting your bottom line. That's what John D. Rockefeller recognized. I don't want to have all my money tied to what I can do. Let me surround myself with other people with like minds. And by doing so, I can empower my ability to earn. So who can benefit from a network marketing career? Anybody. Anybody. One of the things right before COVID, I was just getting ready to launch a division for the disabled. There's some people that are in wheelchairs. They may be, kind of homebound, can't get out and do things. But if they're still able to hold a cell phone, if they can still get access to a laptop computer, then, there's not a business that I'm involved with today. I don't care if you talk about the solar business, you talk about the fixed business, my car business, it doesn't matter. Any of those businesses can be operated by a cell phone. You can be anywhere on the planet. My solar business, I've got partners that do the vast majority of the work. I simply just do referrals. They share the information. I have other people that oversee the operation in terms of when solar is being installed. All I simply do is make the introductions, and I'm making 50% of what's generated off of that project, right? So anybody, I do 99% of my work from my home office, right? I don't have to go out and meet anybody if I don't want to, right? So anybody can benefit from a network marketing if you have internet, a cell phone, and or a laptop. Anybody can benefit from it. If we've got people on our team, I just found that one person is 82 years old. I heard this woman yesterday, over 70 years old, just within the last 60 days, got involved, was coachable with our project. Within the last 60 days, is put herself in a position to generate an extra $500 a week. Another young lady, coachable, was willing to do the exact same things. She brought on 13 partners within a 30-day period. Those 13 partners went out within 30 days and brought in an additional 300 people. This woman now is generating $2,000 to $3,000 a week, and that all happened in 30 days. 30 days. So if she decided to walk away and take a vacation today, she's still making $2,000 to $3,000 a week. Come on, this is madness. So the 2 most important requirements for major success are, first, being in the right place at the right time, because most of business is timing, right? Most of business timing. I would not want to be in the whip business today, right? Whips and buggies, right? There was a day when somebody was making big money off of whips and buggies. But today, wow, it's taking longer than I thought it would today. We're going to wrap up in a second. All right.
That's January 22nd, paying out January.
There's someone talking in the background.
Drive check for $50.
So your next steps, do something you're already good at. Let me go ahead and finish that up.
So you don't have to pay that one this month? Okay.
Somebody need to mute out.
So then, True Green.
All right. Fortunately, all right. So the 2 most important requirements for major success are, first, being in the right place at the right time, And secondly, doing something about it. Doing something about it. So what are your next steps? Do something you're already good at, right? Word of mouth. You just need to get something started and begin to share with other people. And what are they going to do? They're going to begin to share with other people who are going to share with other people. And we're already doing this. You know, anytime you go out to a good restaurant or see a great show, you're already telling people about it. And believe it or not, when you're telling people about something you've experienced in the marketplace, you're helping the bottom line of that business. But the only problem is you're getting no benefit from that activity. So what we're learning to do in our business is to do what you're already doing, but to help you to monetize that. And so we got individuals, especially in this particular business, which is the one that I give the most attention to right now because of timing, fix. You know, this is something I'm, you know, it's amazing what's being happening with this particular product. You know, my wife and I got exposed to this just 6 short weeks ago. It's a health and wellness type of a product. And just in doing this one product, natural product, she's lost 14 inches off her body, you know, without changing anything, without exercising, without changing her diet. And I had a chance to get on my Meet 360 this weekend and check out where I was at. And I was down over 16 inches, including 3 inches off my waist, 3 inches off my belly, which is the most important area that I was targeting. So this is amazing. And it's something that the vast majority of people you meet are going to need because guess what? Over 50% of the American population considers themselves overweight. And so when you're getting into a business, you want to find something that makes sense to people, right? Something that is relevant. And so these are just a couple of the partners that I've had a chance to work with. Now, Maurice is a networker for over 20 years. And this gentleman, in less than 3 weeks, put himself in a position where he's making $7,000 to $8,000 on a monthly basis. But he came to the business with experience. But this person, V. Harry, had no experience, none whatsoever, but she was coachable. And she learned how to invite people to the project. And by simply doing that, she's also earning $2,000 to $3,000 a week, $7,000 to $8,000, $9,000 on a monthly basis. You know, this is something that can be generated because of what? The network marketing industry. And so I have someone here with me that really kind of inspired this talk for me. You know, this gentleman, you know, he had a chance to work in a factory situation as a line worker, right? Which is, you know, the lowest of the totem pole when it comes to factory, being on the line. He was not a foreman, right? He was a line worker. But desiring more, he joined a network marketing company. And this man, in his own words, said he was so timid and afraid that he was afraid to say his own name in front of a room. Now, you know, that's being afraid, right? He's extremely shy, extremely timid. But yet he decided, and I love what he said here now, he decided to choose to be uncomfortable until he became comfortable with public speaking. He went on to join Toastmasters to help to improve the process of being able to get in front of a room and have a conversation. He learned critical skills such as, you know, personal confidence, how to articulate, and how to become a leader. This gentleman, to get together with his wife, they're now leading training sessions for his company. He's training partners and leaders all around the country. He realized that there's more in him than just being a common laborer. His transformation from a line worker to a leader is a testament to the power of personal growth and determination while locking arms in the network marketing industry. Network marketing and the personal development environment it provided a fertile ground that was needed for this gentleman to make a tremendous impact. His journey from line worker to leader has not only transformed his family and his company, but also left a positive mark on his community. This gentleman is none other than William Carlos Byrd, along with his wife, Sheila Byrd. And I'm so proud to know this gentleman. I've known him for over 20 years, and he is doing some major things. But the gentleman that he is today is really, if I could, I put a face on my talk today, it would be this gentleman right here. You know, he's went on to do some major things here in the Metro Detroit area. He and his wife have now gone over to Atlanta, and they're making major waves in that community. But not only that, but the gentleman also now has recently launched a book, Whispers Through the Heart. He's now having his book release, and it's now available in Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So I would like just for a few moments to give Mr. Bird an opportunity just to introduce himself. You still with us, Mr. Bird?
Yes, I am here. Thank you so much. And I was surprised. I wasn't expecting all this. I wasn't expecting to even speak either, but I appreciate you sharing my story. And you was right. I remember those days when I was very shy, and I knew my own story, but when I got in front of the room, in front of people, I got so nervous, I forgot what to say, and it was intimidating, but like you said, through personal development and continuing to do what you need to do. And that helped me when I went to Toastmaster. It gave me confidence. And I went on to pursue to learn how to speak in front of people to where it became more natural. And now I want to get up and speak in front of folks. So that's what helped us be trainers where we are in our business. And now I can go out and speak to anybody. I used to be scared of people that were in higher positions because, like you said earlier, about the language that they speak, but they're just like people like anybody else. So I learned how to speak to everybody. So when I'm out, I talk to anybody. And I appreciate you sharing and the story of my book. That was another thing I never expected to do, but because of what I've learned and how the growth with the personal development, made a decision to go ahead and open up and share some of the my heart actually from in this book. So hopefully you will enjoy the read and everybody else as well. So I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to share that. Thank you, Mr. Hoover.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of my greatest joys was being able to work with him as we worked in the same business over 20 years ago. He and his wife, I mean, just tremendous people, and they love people, they care, and they reek of that, right? It radiates from them, and that's one of the reasons why he's managed to have so much success because of his caring nature. He and his wife, and that's one of the things that's developed when you're in network marketing. It's really what we'd like to say about network marketing is really a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it. And for those who recognize that and make becoming better person than you are, because each and every one of us have greatness in us. And I know that because that's the way the creator made us. When he looked down, he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And then what? Let them have dominion. So if you're not dominating your space, it's not because it's not what the Most High had for you. It's just that you have not tapped into what he wants for you to be. There is greatness in every person. And so as I run my business, I'm always looking to pour into others to help them to see themselves greater than they already do. Because the moment that takes place, that's when the real magic begins to happen. All right. And so with that, we're going to turn it back over to Lakeisha and open up if there's any questions.
I want to say, wow, that was so good. So good. Thank you, everyone. I see a lot of people came on. Robert, Reed, good to see you. I wasn't expecting you. Lolly, all you wonderful people. That was so good. One of the things I want to piggyback on Dr. Hoover is that last night I was being prepared for Forbes Riley. I don't know if anybody know Forbes Riley. She's a multi-millionaire. She's known as the Queen of Pitch. And they're going to have this business summit, right? And so on the business summit, I went on there and Kevin Harrington was there. He is a multi-millionaire. He was actually the original shark, one of the original sharks on Shark Tank, who I am also co-authoring a book with, right? So I was so excited to see that he's going to be a part of that. But on the video, one of the things he said was a gentleman, the importance of mentorship. was the importance of mentorship, that everyone needs to be mentored in different areas of their life. So it's very,
Mhm.
very important about that mentorship, right? Just like what Russ was talking about today. That's like mentorship,
It is.
educating us on, being better, working on your personal development. But one of the things this guy said, how he elevated, was that Kevin Harrington was his mentor. So he jumped in the car and put the camera in Kevin Harrington's face and said, capital, capital, or relationship capital. Capital, capital, or relationship capital. They said without a doubt that so fast, Kevin Harrington said relationship capital. So I
Yes.
had never heard it in that sense of relationship capital. It's the same identical thing that Dr. Hoover was talking about today. It's about building relationships. That is
Mhm.
so powerful. And that's where you will be able to generate wealth, is through your relationships. Through your relationship, building the networks, seeing not about what can somebody do for you. You may need to see what can you do for them.
Yes.
Instead of always saying, "Oh, buy my product." No, find out what can you do for them, because people
Mhm.
remember when you help them, and it's not all about you. As I said, always also have said, Dr. Hoover was talking about success. So I always say being successful is not a solo act. Like, no one can make it alone. These corporations cannot survive without other people. They need employees. They need you. They need you. So I just think this was so profound. Do anybody have any questions? We got 3 minutes left. Anybody have any questions about what he shared today?
I do. I just wanted to know. Okay, so the network marketing, is that you were saying about a product that you just launched? So are we talking about a product? Is that what we're doing? And you know, I think I need mentorship. And he was talking about finding out where your strengths are, because this is what I've thought about. It's come across my awareness in the past few days, is that my daughter works for Apple, and she works 4 days a week, 40 hours, 10 hours a day.
Mhm.
Okay. And so I said, okay, God, send me something. Send me, because this is not it. Because I knew it wasn't it with my dad. It never was it for me. And because I never went the route of a job, the 40-40-40. I never did. But I need extra income, definitely. And I want to use my talents and my knowledge to make that happen. So,
Um,
talking about a product? Are we talking about
yes.
we
Well,
want?
can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so it can be either a product or a service. I've been in both. I've been in a company that had a great service. I've still used the service, um, which is a Legal Shield. Legal Shield. I've had Legal Shield for over 20 years, and Legal Shield has saved me tons of money in legal costs. They've made me tons of money. So Legal Shield is a service. The fixed product that I share with you at the end of my talk is a product-based product, and it just happens to be something that is relevant today. When you look at what's going on with with COVID, whatever that product is that people are shooting in their stomachs to try to lose weight without having to exercise or change their diet. I forget the name of it. Wachovia or something like that. I forget the name of it. But one of the things that we're doing now is making people aware that there's natural ways of losing this fat without having to, expose yourself to these different products. And so, yes, there's a way. It doesn't matter. Just if you get a good company and a good product that's timely, either one can work for you in the networking industry, right? So one of the things I did, I put my email in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out, feel free to do so, and we can have more conversations around that. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, the product you was thinking about is Ozempic.
Ozempic,
And
yes. Yes, Ozempic. Thank you.
yes, but also, Dr. Hoover, you had multiple businesses. What business has the most priority now?
Well, to be honest with you, it is fixed because of the timing of it. Fix has just been around. We've only been exposed to it for about 2 months. But to give you an idea, on Facebook, there's a Facebook group that's all about this fix. When we got involved 2 months ago, there was 3,500 people in that Facebook group. And today there's over 11,000. Okay. And we just talk about, 2 months later. So it is going through a viral growth. And so you want to be involved with things that's growing like that. And when you can get involved with that on an early basis, you can make a lot of damage. We got people in our upline that within 2 full months, they had hit $30,000 of income. So I don't know too many opportunities where you can do something like that. So, yeah, that's one of the things I would focus on the most right this time.
Okay, so why did you name your team Team Dominion?
Well, it kind of talks about something I talked about before. We are created in the image of the Most High. He put greatness on the inside of us. He literally put us on this planet to rule and to reign. And so when he made Adam, he said, let us make man in our image and let them have dominion. So my team is really all about helping people to see themselves the way they were created. And I've had people tell me at times, Dr. Hoover, you see more in us than we see in ourselves sometimes. And that's true. Because if you're seeing yourself as a less than, then you're not seeing yourself the way you were created. So my job is to help you to see yourself the way that the Most High created you. And once you see yourself that way, you're gonna begin to see the results that the Most High has for you. You gotta see yourself greater than you are. That comes with the personal development. That comes with the coaching and the mentoring. Absolutely. Great question.
It's
Go ahead,
so
Ted.
awesome. We are at past the hour of it's 10:02. Hey, we might need to do a part two, okay? Because that was so good, Dr. Hoover. We really, really appreciate you taking out your time and sharing your knowledge, your information. I think everyone could learn from that on many different aspects. So I want to do what we always do, say thank you for coming, and let's give ourselves a hug because sometimes we don't hug ourselves. Hug yourself, okay? I love to hug myself and kiss myself because I love me some me. And let's hug the world because the world need a hug too. And let's sprinkle some peace, love, happiness, and joy to all of those that are in authority. If we send enough love and light, who knows on the outcome? We may be surprised with the outcome. I thank you. Please follow, if you can, follow Elizabeth's Ask Madam Finance on Facebook and Instagram. We just thank you so much. Have a wonderful and fantastic day on purpose. Remember, it's always a choice.
Peace out.
Peace.
Peace out.